And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel.
Tom and Zee Garcia, what's happening?
Today we're taking a look at a game called Ars Alchimia. Does that sound right?
I would say Alchimia.
Alchimia. This is a game from Japan. It's a worker placement game, and this box hides a ton of components. It's very difficult to fit them all in this box. Too small of a box, actually. It's from Manifest Destiny. They've done some other games in the past that I've liked. But this is a worker placement game where I think you have more workers than any other game.
You can have up to 20 if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 20 is the max. That's a lot. Let's take a look. Each player in this game gets their own player board, which is over here, and on this player board you're going to keep track of the different resources that you have, different elements. You got green, blue, red, and white, and then you got the yellow element, which is not only a wild, but you can have up to 12 of them. The rest you can only have a maximum of 6, and at the end of the game, each extra one of these yellows, they're called the elixirs, is worth a point. Now players are going to start with 9 workers, but you have the opportunity to get more. Each turn of the game, players are going to be choosing turn order, and turn order matters, but also whatever card you take for turn order, that's how many extra workers you will get. And you can have a maximum of 20 workers as the game goes by. Now you're going to be placing those workers here on this board. Now players on their turn can pick one of the spots to place their workers, and you can place as many workers as you want. If someone else wants to go to that spot, they're going to have to place at least one more worker than you. So let's say I want to go up here and take that spot up there, then red would have to place 2. And then my worker would be displaced over here. And then maybe green later on wants to play 4 workers, which is more than 2. And then these 2 workers are displaced. Now whenever you place workers on a spot, you get to take the action. So you'll see here up in these spots, these are spots that give you resources. This gives you a white, 2 greens, 2 blues. You can also go to this last space here, and then it's wild. You just flip it over and see what happens. Here it's a blue and a red. When you go to these, you see if you have a perfect collection. To do that, you'll roll a die. So you'll see here, if you roll a 4, you'll also get an extra green. Here, if you roll a 6, you'll get an extra blue, green, and white. The more workers you send than you need to will add 1 to your roll. So let's say I'm the first person to go to a spot. I may send, for example, 3 workers here. Now, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 will get me the extra 2 blue resources. And then if someone else wanted to do that, they might send 5 reds there. They only need to send 4, but it gives them an extra +1 when getting those resources. So getting resources is done by going to those cards. Then down here you can get basically your formulas that you're doing. Here, these formulas, when you've finished them, are going to get you points. So this needs 3 green for 4 points, 2 green, 2 blue for 4 points, 2 whites for 4 points. Each of these formulas is a certain type. At the end of the game, you get points for having the most of each type. But there's also the academic type, and if you have one academic type, then you're allowed to go up and do the B formulas up here, which are going to be more points. You can see this one takes 2 of these to get 8 points. And then if you have 2 academic types in front of you, you can go and do the C formulas. Now when you get these formulas, you're actually going to be placing them on your card here. They're not complete yet. You can just take them. To finish them, you're going to have to go up here and use one of the potion things in town. This will let you finish 1 formula. This one lets you finish 3. You can roll for these also, and that's called making a perfect one. You'll get extra bonus points when you finish them. You also, when you're up here, can make the elixirs. You can change any 2 resources into an elixir. So when you go, let's say I sent some workers here, I could maybe do 1 formula and change something to an elixir and do something else. I got 3 to do here, and then I need to roll a 4 or higher to get the extra bonus points. The last place you can go to with your workers is down here, where you can get special people who will show up. These you put in front of you. You have to pay a worker each turn for each of these that you have, but they give you special things, like when you gather perfectly, that's when you roll the die, you get an extra ancient snow, which is blue. Here, you play a resource of your choice to re-roll a die roll. Here, when you gather a transmute at random, you draw 2 cards and choose one. So there's many different cards that are going to show up over the course of the game. When you pass, you gain as many workers as you have left. When you use 4 more workers in an action, you get one of them back. Here you get +1 to your transmute dice roll. Here you can return as many unfulfilled orders of yours to the bottom of the order deck, etc. So that's it. You do this for 4 rounds. At the end of 4 rounds, whoever has the most points, worth of cards, and other ways that they might have gotten points, is the winner of the game. Okay, so some interesting things in this game. First of all, with the vast amount of workers, putting more workers than the other. What did you think of that concept? I think I've seen it in other games.
Yeah, and for one thing, I mean, it's ultimately sort of a bidding worker placement game, really. I mean, you have that many workers because it's sort of bidding with them. It's not necessarily you put one guy out there, that spot is completely blocked, which is how most worker placement games, go. So I think it's interesting. It's a bidding game meets a worker placement game meets a grab stuff and turn it back around for points. And I like that combination. I thought it was a good mixture of interesting mechanisms.
And what the game does is, as the game goes by, and you get maybe all 20 workers. And I have a small problem that maybe you can get your workers too easily. It's not hard to get all 20 workers. But anyway, as the game goes by, you'll find yourself on your first turn sometimes spending 5.
Right.
Just because it will give you a better bonus on the roll, and or you're blocking other people and you're making them use it. So even if you have a lot of workers, sometimes you still only do 4 or 5 actions on a turn, maybe.
Right, sure. And even when, like you said, the longer the game goes, the more workers you have, but also the more you might spend up front. So you might have about the same number of actions because you really want that bonus, so you'll spend a bunch of extra guys just to make sure you nail that bonus roll.
Yeah, I wasn't so sure on the roll at first, rolling for resources or getting extra points. But there are ways to mitigate that. You can go for it or not. I mean, you still could pay an extra 3 guys and roll a 1.
Right.
That can happen, and that can be problematic when it happens. But other than that, I do like the idea, and it worked pretty well. The resource collection was certainly unique to this game. Although I'm not a big fan of keeping track of your resources on different tracks like that. It's easy to knock them and things like that.
And I think that's just a symptom of the fact that, like you said, the game comes in this tiny little box. But really, I mean, if this game was published in Europe somewhere, or it was published in the U.S. somewhere, it would be in a box.
It's like a Ticket to Ride, for sure.
Right. But space being at a premium in a place like Japan, they make games this small that really pack quite a punch.
Yeah, right, and the components are okay. I mean, you're using little pawns and little cubes and stuff, but whatever. And the cards are too small. I'm really constantly, and especially when they put Japanese and English on them, you're like, what does that say? Especially with the special abilities. Although I do like the special ability cards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the helpers, the assistants. Is that what you mean?
Right, the assistants. It's a cool idea. It takes one of your workers out of the mix to give you a benefit.
Right.
And the game is really like a 3-step process. Get the materials you need, get the recipe you need, then do the recipe. And you'd go through that. The only big problem I have with the game is I'm not absolutely sure, and I'm not I am a numbers guy, but I don't know all the numbers. It seems like the numbers aren't right.
Okay.
The second and the third level recipes are more points for just a few more resources, as opposed to many games of this type where the recipes for more points cost many more resources. You can only get to those if you get an academic recipe, and the academic recipes aren't all of them. So if, let's say, Z gets one, and then it's my turn, and there's none out there, that's problematic, I think. I actually thought that was kind of a big problem with the game.
I mean, I didn't have as big an issue with any part of it, really, as much as you did. I thought everything seemed fine. Yeah, those are...
I don't know that I like it.
Harder to get, and you're right that you could get locked out of them, but for you to get those bigger point cards, you need to specifically focus on that and possibly ignore other things, from which I might do better. So say you snagged the one academic card out there, well, I'm going to go get a bunch of helpers. And in fact, one of the helpers gives you an academic symbol, so I might be able to find that one, or I might be able to just do different things, or get points from getting that wild resource and just turning in a bunch of those and kick up a bunch of points that way. So I thought there were ways to get around that. And
There are. I'm just not convinced that that's not the best strategy.
Right. And again, I couldn't tell you one way or the other without playing 100 times, but I thought it was fine.
Other than that, though, I still did enjoy the game. I thought it was a cool idea. I'm a big fan of worker placement games anyway, but just putting out a whole pile of them feels good, you know. And you have when you have 13 workers, you're like, ooh, I'm going to put 4 here. You know, there's a lot of fun in that, and there was a lot of choices. Even if someone blocks you out somewhere, you still have things to do. You can get things. So
I mean, I liked it even more than you did, so I give it a big thumbs up. I thought it was everything that I came across in the game was sound and interesting. I mean, something as simple as turn order was interesting in this game. It's like, ooh, I could go first, but I only get 1 extra worker for the rest of the game. Or I'm fine, I'll go last, even though there's a really juicy helper out there. Or, oh, I really want that 1 potion, but I'll go last because I won the extra 4 guys and just hope it's still there, or whatever. I thought every decision in the game was pretty interesting. I was very, very happy with the game.
alrighty, so that's Ars
Alchimia
from Manifest Destiny. Dice Tower Judgment approved.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Cierra la puerta.
¿Qué?